Lowe's knows that no matter your paint project, saving is at the top of your list. That's why when you shop today, you can buy one, get one free select Valspar and HGTV Home by Sherwin-Williams one-coat coverage interior paints via rebate. Shop these deals in-store or online today at Lowe's. We help, you save. Selection varies by location. While supplies last. Discount taken at time of purchase. See sales associate for details. Offer valid 8/21 through 9/3.
Welcome to
the local lowdown and
find out what's happening in Lavaca County, Texas. Now here are your hosts, Murray and Michelle.
Hello everybody, this is Murray back with you on this edition of the local lowdown. This is the May 1st and 2nd edition of all our newspapers in Lavaca County, Texas. And I got my partner, Michelle, with me. How are you, Michelle?
I am just wonderful.
There's nothing like being fired up.
That's right.
All right. Well, we're going to be doing all the papers and going to be kind of running through the more important parts. The rest of it you'll just have to read when you get your editions. We'll also include Luling at the end, and maybe some other random news. So, okay, Michelle, get it started with the Hallettsville Tribune Herald.
All right. Well, a big shout out. We had talked to Jimmy Apple last week, one of our senior writers, and we talked about the draft. And so the draft occurred last Friday, and local hometown boy Jonathon Brooks is going to be a Carolina Panther. Now, this isn't where we all thought he was going.
No, it was a big surprise. I think a lot of Cowboy fans wanted him there, and I'm a Houston Texan fan, and I wanted him there. But God bless him, he's such a good kid that we wish him success anywhere he goes. And I'll be pulling for Carolina.
And I did hear that he didn't want to go somewhere cold. So Carolina, are we cold in Carolina?
Well, it gets cold there, but the thing about it is, when you're playing the NFL, it doesn't make any difference where you're located, except you will have warm practice facilities, but you're going to play teams in cold towns. You know, you're going to go all over the country. So, but anyway, he seems to be really happy. I think they had their little event out there at Blaze's place when they.
Yeah, I mean, how cool is that? That Blazes is where Jonathon picked to have his party. Now, here's a little tidbit on Michelle not knowing as much as she thinks she knows. I know that's very hard to believe.
Yeah, if I had a horn, I'd blow it.
But when they said that they were having a draft party at Blazes, and I was just like, okay, well, Chuck will be there. Just thinking it was Chuck and his group of guys drinking beer. But this was like truly a draft party.
Yeah. And
Jonathon was in attendance, and that is where he got the news that he was going to be a Carolina Panther. So super cool. Congrats to him. Congrats to his family. It takes a tribe to get you to a point like that. And he comes from a great family, and you could see how excited they were. If you haven't seen any of the video yet, like on Facebook or other places, you should watch it. It warms your heart. You bet.
It's nothing like seeing a good kid that lives the life the way he's done it, and he constantly gives God credit for all his talent. And unfortunately, in the NFL, that probably doesn't go over real well. You know, they don't like people kneeling, except in case they're kneeling against the flag. But Jonathon, he's got his head on straight. He knows where he's at, and God bless him.
Yes, and I will say, so the way the paper works around here, in case you don't know, is people just kind of hand me stories, not hand them, but send them over, or different things happen, and it's a very crazy day on Tuesday. And when Chuck said, I sent you this story, he told me what the headline should be. And I, of course, in true Michelle fashion, said, okay, great. And all I remembered about an hour later was he said something about dream.
Yeah. Well,
so that's not Chuck's headline, it's mine.
I think that little headline might have originated with Murray somewhere down the line.
Maybe.
But we won't bicker over that.
We won't bicker, but maybe that's the one I remembered. But Chuck, of course, on Wednesday morning when saw it, he said, why didn't you use my headline? Well, because I couldn't remember it. So there we go.
Well, at least in the picture you can see his face real well.
That's right, Murray. That's right. So congrats again to Jonathon Brooks. We promised this and we delivered on the movie that is being filmed in Hallettsville at the old jail. So read up about that movie, what is going on, what it's called, what it's about, all of those things. And then last weekend was a lot of events, but one of them was, of course, Fiddlers Frolic. And here is your champion on the front page. So make sure to check him out. And he is Mr. Dennis Ludeker of Austin. And so congrats to him, and read about other winners, and there's more on Fiddlers on the back page.
Yeah, are we in the process of voting right now? Or does that end? When does that end? Saturday?
Okay, so early voting ended on Tuesday.
Okay.
And then polls will open up again on Saturday. And then I'm not sure exactly. I would say 7 o'clock sounds right. But voting will end on Saturday. And then we will have next week's election results.
So if you're listening to this podcast today, you still have time to go vote?
Yes. I think they open bright and early at like 7 a.m. on Saturday.
All right.
And then a couple of weeks ago, so I am not going to say exactly how old I am, but I'll say 40 plus years of my life never having a scorpion in my house. And a few mornings ago, last week, there was a scorpion in my house. And I screamed and yelled and got my husband, and he killed it. And it was not easy to kill. And so they say they come in twos. I haven't seen his friend yet. So I'm waiting for that. He was lurking in some laundry that we had done. So I don't know if he came in, if he was finding a warm place to lay. I don't know. I'm waiting for it.
Maybe he liked the smell of your fabric softener or something.
Maybe. But I have had the insect invasions because yesterday I got stung by either bee, wasp, I don't know. So I feel like they're out to get me.
Well, the scorpion, has he stung you yet?
He hasn't, because I found him first and murdered him.
You'll sure know it if he does.
I heard it's pretty rough.
It's pretty bad.
But I thought I got shot when I got stung yesterday. But I'm a little on the dramatic edge of life.
No.
So there's that. And then this weekend, guess what, Murray? We are celebrating Cinco de Mayo.
Yeah.
And for you, those of you who don't speak Spanish fluently, that means the 5th of May.
The 5th of May, that's right. Yeah. I celebrate it by eating a breakfast taco.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
We already celebrated then this week.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll celebrate again today.
Well, that's a celebration we never end.
That's
with
right.
Those breakfast
We
tacos.
celebrate Cinco de Mayo weekly here
You
at the
bet.
paper. And then, of course, we have Chuck Scroff, 50 years. And Henry Joe, you got one more week to answer that month question.
Yeah.
I'll give him a hint. You eat it at Thanksgiving.
Hey.
There we go.
Yeah.
And it's not potatoes.
No.
That's a hard one.
I'm not going to guess, because knowing me, I'll probably guess right.
But, like, it was potatoes? Would it start with an E or an O?
It wouldn't start with no E.
Some
It'd be
people
more
put
like
that
a
E on
P.
it. No, it's backwards.
Oh, okay.
God, Murray, I know how to spell that much. Happy Mother Goose Day was on Wednesday, so we gotta love all that. The facts are real. Bond election, so if you haven't voted, this is your last chance to read up on that and see what the bond is all about. It's an important vote, so get out there. More fiddlers, more movie stuff. And then we have the obituaries. Eleanor Agnes Moloch Rothbauer. Eleanor Agnes Moloch Rothbauer, 102 of Hallettsville, passed away peacefully on Friday, April 26, 2024, with her family at her bedside after being given her last rites. James Thibodeau, 93, a loving husband and father, peacefully passed away Sunday, April 28, 2024, surrounded by loved ones on his family farm in Shiner. So condolences to both of those families. We'll talk a little bit about Ms. Rothbauer. Now, Ms. Rothbauer is the mother of 3 of our employees, which in itself is quite a story. The Rothbauer family out of the 4 kids, 3 of them are employed by the paper, and we'll just claim Barbara as the 4th because she could just come in every once in a while.
Oh, yeah,
right?
yeah.
But Ms. Rothbauer's parents owned the paper many, many years ago. They owned several papers, but the Tribune Herald was one. Was it called the Tribune Herald there then? I don't think so.
It might have started off as the Tribune, and I think, well, I know for sure that the other paper in town was called the New Era Herald, and they combined, and that's how it got the name Tribune Herald.
That's a good story. Did anyone ever write that?
I don't know. We'll have to talk to Jimmy and see if he
We'll
wants
have to. But our sympathies to the family, Ms. Rothbauer's family. We know that it happened kind of fast, but when you're 100 and almost 3, things change rather quickly in your health.
Well, Miss Rothbauer was in that nursing home over in Schulenburg, Regency, for, I believe, 14 years before she passed, and my mother was in that nursing home as well, and my mother passed at age 92. But every time we'd go visit Mom, she'd talk about Miss Rothbauer. She loved her, and she'd always ask me, "Have you ever heard Miss Rothbauer laugh?" And she'd ask me that every time I went, and I'd say, "Yes, Mama, I've heard her." But she did have a joyful laugh. She was a person that I guess never met a stranger, from what I can tell, and she was just a great lady, very energetic, and I don't believe she wound up in a wheelchair until, not too long ago. And she was always walking around and visiting and playing the games or playing the dominoes and whatever they did. So God bless her, and as Michelle said, condolences to the family. We know them all.
Yes, and that black box is significant because it is only for, or it is trademarked for obituaries or for people who have been employees or are employed of our paper. So.
Yep, that's true.
So there we go. Moving right along. There's a good story on it was actually an ad sent in from Dr. Ty Meyer about choosing hospice. Now, hospice had their grand opening, or it's not really a grand opening. They just moved locations.
Is that an ad?
Yes.
Okay.
It was a grand opening, and last week, South Texas Hospice, and they're now located next to the theater downtown, which they said was the old movie shop. I'm not sure. I haven't been in Hallettsville that long, but hospice is a very important, I feel, step in the process of a lot of people's life or end of life. So read all the information you can about it. We have some great hospice organizations in the area. And so this gives a little more insight that Mr. Meyer, or Dr. Meyer, sent in. We have the soil and water essay and poster winners. That's going to continue this week. It was Sacred Heart and Hallettsville High, but every week we'll have a little bit more about that. We have Chuck Groff Sports. Of course, Chucky's pretty busy right now. Hallettsville girls and boys will continue their playoff run. Congrats to the people who made the state track meet and who will be both for Hallettsville and Sacred Heart will be competing this weekend. So best of luck to them.
Yeah, they had their send-off, I think it was yesterday, one group. I know we had it I saw it on Facebook. And then what's the story about this fencing around the campus?
So Jimmy Apple, our senior writer, did his story about the fencing that's being erected around campus. A lot of fencing is definitely done. I know St. Paul and Shiner did it pretty recently. Of course, it is a safety thing. It says that the mandate requires the fence to either be 6 feet in height with anti-scaling measures or 8-foot high fence. So this is something that's being required of schools to have now, and that is because of safety. So read more about that.
And I'm sure Jimmy will probably do a follow-up on that as they progress with the building of it.
And we have some local teens that are adding their great insight into the paper about pro-life, so go ahead and read that. all I can say is I'm probably not supposed to have opinions, but of course I always have opinions. Ms. Addie Ferry, I do not know how old you are. I know that you are pretty young, but that is a great piece, and
Right.
you should, whether you're pro-life, pro-choice, whatever your thing is, stance on that. If you read this piece and not be touched by it, something's probably wrong with you. There's my
There
little
you go.
tidbit. Happy birthday, Willie Nelson.
Oh, Willie,
Now Willie is 91.
bless your heart. That just goes to show you that you can live a long life on marijuana.
That is true. Yes, you can.
Oh, Willie.
Willie is a prime.
That's a Texas icon, whether you like him or don't.
Right.
That he's a piece of work. It really
And
is.
then we want to thank Lavaca Medical Center, of course, for all their advertising. They do it weekly, and they have 3 and this is 3 in the paper this week alone. And this one is about immunization. So check that out, because we all need them at some point.
Yep.
And more Fiddler stuff. And that pretty much ends the Hallettsville Tribune Herald.
All right, we're moving over to the Shiner Gazette, and I don't have a lot to say about it because I know my partner here, she will definitely have a lot to say about it. So tell us about your weekend and this chamber float.
So we got to San Antonio on Saturday for the Fiesta Flambeau parade. And so it's a kind of a long day of preparation. We started with a little bit of fun and just kind of eating and getting ourselves prepared for the long day. Fiesta has been going on for many, many years. Now, of course, I am not the history buff. My partner, Mr. Murray Montgomery, is. So it wasn't till later in the day, as we were stuck in traffic, that I realized that Fiesta was not a Spanish holiday completely, or something that just kind of like Cinco de Mayo. It is actually to celebrate Texas independence. I
Yep,
had no
yep.
idea.
Yep, as a matter of fact, I'll have to confess, I didn't know that either.
Well, there we go.
So,
Oh my goodness. I really can't believe that, but I did learn it, so thank goodness for being stuck in some traffic. It took us, well, the kids had to be at the float by 4 p.m. Judging was at 4:30, and then, of course, the parade didn't start till 7:45.
yeah, we had a fire truck break down.
We did.
And I didn't time it. I was watching the whole thing for a different reason. But anyway, it shut down the whole process. And it was an old fire truck. And it was built so when it lost power, the brakes lock up. So they couldn't push it. It was huge. In no way could they push it with the brakes locked up. And I didn't time it, like I said, but I would bet 45 minutes at least.
Yeah, it was quite a delay. So the whole day was kind of full of just lengthy time. Like I said, for the kids, it was from 4:30 to 8 that they were just out there on the float waiting. For us, it took us about an hour and a half to go about 12 miles to get back to from the parade drop off to the parade route. Then it was like Disney World, kind of to get to your seats and go through the crowds of people. I will say that, yes, things happened that I heard about that were negative. But when you get that many people in one place, it is hard to not have bad and good things happen. But for me and my experience, all the people were very kind, very generous. There was a lot of people, like I said, and it was definitely, we were at a point where we had no clue, other than people were texting me that the fire truck broke down. We didn't know what the delay was. So
Well,
we
I'll
were
tell
just
you
kinda
what,
sitting there.
that of all the cities in Texas, of all the big cities in Texas, that's my favorite. I always said that if I was a billionaire, I would live in one of those hotels on the Riverwalk, where I could walk right out of that hotel, right to the river, have me a margarita, breakfast tacos, you name it. Such a beautiful setting, and we lived on the coast. That's pretty much where our family was raised up. And I would take my kids, and we would go to San Antonio every summer, and we would go to every mission. We would go to the Alamo. And it's just a beautiful place, and the city of San Antonio makes sure that area around that river is safe. I mean, it's loaded up with officers all the time because they're not going to do anything to kill that tourism. And the Alamo is, I think that's the biggest tourist site in the state. But what I wanted to ask you was, what time did y'all's day start, and what time did you get home?
Our day started from leaving Shiner at about 9 o'clock in the morning. So started getting ready about 7:30, and then we got to our hotel room at 1:30 a.m. So it was a long day, but it was definitely worth it. I had a lot of the kids say that no matter what, they won't ever forget being on a float riding by the Alamo.
No.
I mean, that is a memory that's lifetime. It is just it's one of those things, once you experience it, you're just kind of in awe about how great it is, and the yelling and screams from people, all in good fun and greatness. It's a really wonderful, and we got third place, so there we go.
That's great. Well, did y'all stay downtown? Or?
We did. We stayed at the Holiday Inn downtown, so we were right in the midst of all the old beautiful architecture.
I've stayed there. I know what you're talking about.
It was great.
Well, let's move on, I guess.
And Shiner's getting, I know, that's the most exciting thing, right? Shiner's getting a new swim team, so that's exciting. They will be competing throughout the summer. So congrats on that. Congrats to Peshek Properties for being the business of the season, selected by the Shiner Chamber of Commerce. We have GVC Scholarship Award winners. So a lot of scholarships are starting to be handed out. Best of luck to those seniors as they finish their last month. It's probably 20-some days left. They have it counted down, I'm sure. We have Mr. Thibodeau again. Condolences to his family. The Soil and Water Conservation Essays and Poster winners from, I think this is just from the Catholic school. We're in the paper this week. And then the girls win silver at the state tournament in golf for St. Paul, so congrats to them. All of the softball teams, both girls' softball teams are still playing. Both boys' baseball teams are still playing, so best of luck to them. At the baseball game, the 2004, 1A baseball state champion guys were honored. They look a little bit older. I mean, it happens, right?
It happens. There's not much you can do about it, unfortunately.
How it happens. Shiner One Act Play is going to state, which of course is huge for them. So best of luck. And like I said, I got the opportunity to see that production, and it is very well. From every part of it, it's just very well executed. And so you have from costume design, to the acting itself, to the lighting and sound. It's just amazing. So I think they'll do well, but maybe I'm a little biased. Bicycle rodeo. Did you do the bicycle rodeo when you were in school, Mark?
I never did that, no.
Oh, did they have it?
No, probably not. It could have been a buggy ride or something like that back when me and Jasek was there, but...
Well, the bicycle rodeo, I know, has been going on since I was in school, so there's some winners of that. So that's kind of a long-standing tradition. I mean, how fun is that? Now, here's some big news. So if you've been driving through Shiner, you've seen that sidewalks have been being installed in all the Main Street area. And so a little accident occurred with the sidewalks and the construction, and a gas line was hit, so that put everyone into a state of shelter in place.
Well, what got me worried wasn't that our taco place?
No, we don't always get tacos from there, so that was good. We get tacos usually, here's a little ploy for you guys, start advertising with the paper, La Terraza, which is farther down. But I do like a good Mary's tacos. Ani and I got migas from Mary's last Thursday. So they're both great restaurants.
It's all good.
I mean, Mexican food and tacos, how do you go wrong?
Exactly.
But they did, unfortunately, had to be shut down. Now, I have a question. So, does someone have to pay them lost wages or anything? What do you think, Mary?
Well, I don't know who damaged was it the people that were setting the line?
I think it would have been TxDOT, but I'm not sure.
No. I don't really know. We'd have to get a lawyer. Maybe Jasek would know.
Maybe, Henry. I mean, I just was thinking, because I did eat at Mary's last night, and we had that conversation amongst the group of people I was eating with, is, that was a whole day of they didn't get to serve food, their employees didn't get to work. I mean, that's no fun. Now, Lee County Fair. Where is Lee County, Murray?
I asked Jasek that same question, and he said Giddings, Texas, which is, I think, where our headquarters might be.
So that makes sense. So they advertised in all of our papers this week. Mm-hmm. So May 16th through 18th, that's coming up. Definitely if you have nothing going on, go out there. It looks like it's going to be a fun time.
All right, we're going to take a trip now over to the Yoakum paper and our friends that put it together, Allison and Nadine, and they do a good job with a very small staff, and we want to thank them for all the work they do. Looks like we have a overturned vehicle there.
Yeah, so my challenge for the citizens of Yoakum, Texas, is to not have a car accident next week, so we don't have that on the front page.
Yeah, it seems like that's on the front page pretty often.
It is. So come on, guys, let's take on the challenge.
And that big scorpion, we had to get him in.
We gotta love the scorpion, right? Yeah. They have teams in the playoffs as well, so best of luck to them. Firefighter Appreciation Day is May 4th. Murray and I talk about this all the time, how important our first responders are. There are specific always appreciation days set out, but please thank your firefighters, EMS, police, all of those people who spend their lives and sacrifice their life for yours.
And so many of these firemen are volunteers. I think here in Hallettsville, I believe all our firemen are volunteers. I don't believe that there's a paid position in that bunch, and I could be wrong about that. I know that Gonzales and I believe Yoakum, I believe they have some paid firefighters that are on duty all the time, and God bless them for what they do. These volunteers, though, you have to understand, these are just your neighbors, people that'll hear that buzzer in the middle of the night and get up and put on their turnouts and go fight fires. So we really need to thank all of them for the work they do. And that includes EMS.
Correct. So Yoakum Junior High celebrates Earth Day with solar smoothies. I mean, I don't know why we missed Earth Day. What day was it, Murray?
I don't know. I was thinking it was last week sometime, but
I don't know. I mean, if there was smoothies involved, how we missed it.
Yeah, we can't be everywhere.
I guess not. Maybe we can just do a delayed smoothie. And we have some obituaries. We have Robert Bob Arlett. Robert Bob Arlett, 76, passed away peacefully at his home April 25th. He was born September 25th, 1947 in Yoakum to Julius and Helen Hemelick Arlett. Sorry if I butchered any of that. Alvin Veselka, Alvin James Veselka, passed away peacefully surrounded by family on the 14th day of April at the age of 89. And then, of course, Mr. Thibodeau. So, to those families, again, our deepest sympathy on your loss is plural.
Yeah.
Having a little hard time with plural lately.
They had a sports banquet over there?
They did have a sports banquet. So, it looks like we have a list or some pictures of some of the honorees that received, I would say, the overall awards. These photos were courtesy of Raymond Rojas. We're not really sure ever, Raymond. I'm sorry. But thank you for helping us get those in the paper, and congrats to those young men and young ladies. And there's more sports banquet that continues on the next page. And we're scrolling.
You'll just have to go through your papers, folks, and read it all, because there's no way we can cover every item on this podcast.
What are these old cars?
Well, there's a classic vehicles. This is a car club out of Victoria, and Bobby Sparkman is one of the leaders of that club. I know Bobby from all the car shows that I've been to, and they have a tour that they take every year. And I'm not going to lie and tell you I know the details to it, but they passed through Yoakum, and they were talking about how great the hospitality was from the Oakham folks. And then we have some pictures from that.
Awesome.
From that.
It's like a Scooby-Doo van, that last one.
It looks like that might be an old Ford or Dodge. I'm not sure.
All right, Murray.
All right, we're moving over to the Molten Eagle. And we pretty well covered like we've been trying to do lately, covering our front page with mostly local news. And Moulton's own Daniel Jasek, the headline, continues to fiddle and win. I believe Mr. Jasek's 92, 93, but he's been playing at every fiddle fiesta or event that they've had here before Fiddlers Frolic. Mr. Jasek has been involved. And this year, one of the few years that he didn't actually win. I think he came in third. And then we have...
He was still a winner.
Yeah, of course he is. He would be a winner if he didn't place. If there wasn't a contest, he'd be a winner. But we have a picture of the UIL academic champions from Moulton Independent School District. And we have our one-act play from Moulton. And they made history with the length that they went in the events. And then we have the young lady that's running at the 400 state meet, 400 meter race. I'm not going to try to pronounce her name again because I butchered it so bad. Her first name's Abby, and that's what I'm going to call her.
All right, Abby. Well, good luck, sweetheart.
I believe she'll be running Saturday.
And then Henry, he wrote about weddings of yesteryear. I didn't get in the Hallettsville paper yet, so we're not going to talk about it until I can talk about it. Is that fair?
I don't care.
No, it's fine. Henry just gives an insight to how weddings used to be to how they are today. One, they were a lot cheaper, right?
Yeah, we're going to start in with that column. We're going to start doing more of letting Henry talk about things from the past. Now, this column used to be, well, it still is the town crier, but it used to be only about postings of events that people had coming up. And we're still going to do that, but a lot of times we might not have one or two events. And I gave this column, I can take credit for that.
Good job.
I gave this column to Henry because he's a long time Moulton person. He worked for that newspaper years and years ago. So I told him last week, I said, you start writing down your memories and we'll start having that. And that's what we're having. This is actually the inaugural week of Henry doing this. So I'm excited about it, and I hope that other people will read it.
And it's a very good one. I mean, like I said, besides cost and food, there was other things that were different.
Oh, yeah.
They got to eat a whole lot more.
Yeah. Those weddings back then, especially those Czech weddings, Lord, they put on a big event, and they still do it to this day. I mean, that's their heritage. And anyway, you need to read that column, and I won't talk about it because Michelle wants to save it for herself.
Yeah, I'm selfish like
that. But
that.
speaking of columns, I have one in there.
Man.
I think Moulton's the only place that it got published, and that's probably because I do that paper.
Can't imagine.
But anyway, it's about wild times in old McDade, Texas. I don't know how many of you are.
I was there this year.
Oh, okay. McDade was a wild place back in the old days, back in the days of the Old West. And this article is about those things that happened there, and the hangings or lynchings or whatever you want to call them, the gunfights. And now McDade is a little town of about, I think the population's around 1,000, and I'm sure it's not near as wild as back then. But anyway, I thought it was kind of neat, and if you get time, we'll give it a read.
They're popular for their watermelons, too.
Yep. Yeah, there's a big toss-up between them and Luling. I'll have to give Luling the nod, being as they're part of our newspaper family.
You had some tennis.
Yeah, I tried to get everything in that was submitted to me by the Moulton Independent School District. And I think for the most part, I did get them all in. And anyway, they're doing well, and congrats to them and those that might be going on. And we appreciate our advertisers. We have Ehlers in here, and their big sale. We have that obit from Mr. Thibodeau. I think it ran in all our papers.
Yeah.
And then we have pictures of a field trip that the kids took over there from Moulton. And that's mostly it. They had kids, teacher had a class over there where she's teaching them kids about business. When we getting that starting them early. I put in that headline, could these be the new business tycoons from Moulton?
And it's Small Business Week, I think.
Yep. And I think that's basically all of Moulton. Let's move on over and take a quick look at the Luling Newsboy.
All right, so Luling had their prom. You're going to see some of the royalty that was chosen at their prom. They're talking, I mean, just like everyone, there's an election. Now, Murray, has there always, so yeah, it's an election year. So you always vote this many times during an election year? How come I didn't realize?
Do people, what'd you say?
Like, I feel like I'm going vote. Like, I voted not too long ago. Now I voted again this week. Now I'll vote again in May for the county election.
Yeah, well,
then November.
They seem to pop up sometimes. These local elections, they may not have an election. But then when we have, like here in Hallettsville, we have the school bond issue that's jumped up. And so, yeah, you never know. Other than national and state elections, you can count on them being there every time.
Yeah.
But on these local elections,
keep paying attention, though.
Yeah, read the paper.
That's right.
You bet. What else has Nicole got going on over there?
Let's see what Nicole has. Oil City Classic honors memory of Clyde Wallace. And then they have some people running, it looks like, at the state meet as well. Maybe Mr. Miguel looks like is his name, so best of luck to him. And then there is a article ad on O'Bannon and how O'Bannon's one of the funeral home in Luling and how it got its start and the changes that have been made in its history. So that's a good read. Sports. And that about covers it, eh?
Yeah. Well, once again, we've got great advertisers at Luling at the Newsboy. We appreciate your ads, folks, and we don't take anything for granted because it's those ads that pay our salary. And I know
we love you.
I'm not rich like Michelle, but I need my
goodness.
check. You know, Michelle and Henry Joe Jasek, they probably could work for nothing. But some of us,
we work for love.
Yeah, some of us have to have a paycheck. But anyway, I don't know. Have you got anything else that you want to talk about before we close it out?
Well, let me just tell you. Murray has asked me, I think this is the third time today, that he said, is there anything else you want to talk about, or do you have anything to talk about? Now, that is like a question that you should never ask.
That's kind of a stupid question now that you think
I
of it.
mean, I'm not trying to say that word.
Yeah, that's pretty dumb on my part because she always has something to say.
I do always have something
She's kind of like a dripping faucet in your kitchen that you can't turn off, and that's...
If you give me some Benadryl, I'm out like a light.
Yeah, she got them big Buddy Holly glasses on, so she's cooking.
So I'm living. Yeah. I'm living the dream. I don't know that I do have a lot to talk about, which is kind of odd.
Yeah. I mean, well, in that case, let's shut it down.
Let's do it.
Because, I don't know, you may not have had breakfast yet.
I have not had breakfast
and I haven't had any coffee yet, so that's even worse.
So the struggle is real, guys.
Yeah. So go ahead and give them your goodbyes and I'll wrap it up.
All right. Well, good luck to all of the teams playing this week. I know that you guys have goals to get to the state tournament, and I am hoping that in this area, I know there's a lot of great softball teams for sure. So I'm hoping to see some of y'all in the state tournament. best of luck to One Act Plays, anything else that the kids are doing. Y'all are ending out a great year, and we want to end it all on a high note, and we're very proud of the way you represent our small towns. Other than that, enjoy your weekend. I hope it's more restful than mine will be, because I will be running as usual. But we'll see you next week.
All right. Well, folks, I'm going to wrap mine up with this. You know, we have a whole lot of things going on our college campuses. And I'm not going to get political here because I get political many other places. Yeah. But there's not but one flag in this country, and it's the American flag, period. And I'll end it with that. Goodbye to you all. Have a great weekend, and we'll talk to you next week. Goodbye.
Bye for now.